The views expressed on the Warren and Bradley Show are not necessarily those held by the hosts, Warren and Bradley, nor those of the proprietors of the website, warrenandbradley.com.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, fire!
Let's make some magic.
It is magic time. Hello and welcome once again to the Warren and Bradley Show. I'm one of your hosts, Bradley Victor.
I'm the other host, Warren Van.
Yeah, okay. Keep the coughing to a minimum. I told Warren before the show started that he couldn't yawn repeatedly during the show.
And that applies to all of you in the audience,
yes,
too. Please
that's
don't
one
yawn
thing
during
that
the
I
show.
always used to have to try to cut out of the old show. As I was talking, telling some very interesting, long, and involved story, I could hear Warren like in the background. So I'm going to
try
edit out all your
I'm
yawns.
also going to try to act like I'm interested, too. Here
We're
we
continuing the raw experiment on the Warren and Bradley Show. Wow, it looks like we're really hot here. So this is another thing. Our engineer, who is me, has to try to adjust
think
things
those
on the
mics are
fly.
too hot?
I don't know. I think
It's
they're fine.
fine.
Let's just not get too close. It's freaking hot out, Warren. It's 76 degrees in Bellingham, Washington right
Yeah,
now.
it's nice.
I was downtown earlier doing a little girl watching because they're all walking around in like halter tops and hot pants, things like that.
Yeah.
Just standing on the corner watching all the girls go by. What was all those songs that I don't think they make anymore, but like in the 50s and 60s, there'd be like, standing on the corner, watching all the girls go by. You know, like weird.
There's a whole genre of songs like that?
Little crew-cutted people, like a little, what was that? That was like the four.
Like doo-wop or whatever?
I don't know, it's like clean-cut white guys singing the songs like that.
barbershop quartets?
No, I don't know. I think it was the Four Lads or something did that song. But then there was the, what was that? The Occasions. They're another group like that, a bunch of white dudes who kind of do like pseudo R&B, but they had the I'm a girl watcher, watching girls go by.
They're called the Occasions?
Yeah.
It's a terrible name.
My, oh my, I'm a girl watcher.
Yeah, you're a girl watcher, all right.
I'm a girl watcher.
Just you and the other homeless people hanging out in the street, staring at women walking by. They're half your age.
I was just a boy when
If you keep doing this, we're going to have to start editing the show. And you're going to hear some yawns, too.
So yeah, I was amused by the ladies walking by. And then the people who are also wearing very scanty clothing and shouldn't be wearing really scanty clothing. It's interesting because, you know, it's when I was downtown, it was probably 70 degrees or something. It's a blistering 76 right now. But in Bellingham, in relation to a week ago, it was barely 50 degrees and raining like a bastard. And so, of course, when it gets to 70, everyone's like, ooh, let's strip off all our clothes. And they don't seem to think, let me look in the mirror before I exit my apartment.
They're not all worried about getting your approval. That's true.
No, it's not even just my approval. It's I would feel shame, and I would not subject other people to my body.
Though.
Yeah, well, more people should be like me.
Yeah, I know. That's the theme of the show.
So I had another great experience at the Bagelry.
Yes.
We had the coffee spilling last week. Or was it last week? Something like that.
I think it may have been 2 weeks ago. I think we went...
And yeah, maybe. And you mentioned the old not getting the lid on all the way thing that happened. Well, this happened to me yesterday, actually. Picked up my coffee, big splash of coffee everywhere, went and got a rag again. And as I was sopping up the mess of coffee on the counter, guess who I looked over and saw to the side of me shaking her head disapprovingly?
Oh,
the same fucking old woman who had been so disgusted with me before.
Well, on her podcast, she's probably like talking about how, like, can you believe it? He did it once. Can you believe he did it again?
Well,
he probably does it every day.
I mean, it's not that weird because I'm assuming maybe she comes at the same time I do every weekend to go to the Bagelry.
She may have the same, like, weird thing that you do where she doesn't do anything except for go to the Bagelry.
But I got this weird feeling like maybe she had been sent by some higher power to judge me at all times. Like she's going to follow me around all over the place, and anytime I do something foolish, she'll just go and shake her head in a disgusted manner.
It would be pretty good. I think it would be a good movie. I could see like Frank Capra getting involved in this. Like you, the most judgmental person ever, and then like suddenly like the tables are turned when this weird woman follows him around and judges everything he does.
I wonder if I could pull off a Jimmy Stewart.
And
Mary!
They have to take you back.
Don't you know me, Mary?
through your past, and you're like, look at the mistakes you've made in the past.
Yeah, but if all the mistakes involve spilling coffee or choking, I don't know if that's going to be a very compelling movie.
I don't even choking and spilling coffee for an hour.
But as I was watching all the human parade walking by on the street corner, there was this dude. I saw a couple little families like this where there was the former crazy tattooed gutter punk weirdo who now has kids.
Yeah.
But he's still, you can't scrub all those tattoos off. And so he's walking around with just like crazy neck tattoos, face tattoos, but he's got two little girls who are clothed and look well fed. Like it looks like he's taking care of these girls. But I saw this one guy. I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but I think you know how much gauging of ears disturbs me.
Yeah.
I find it totally disgusting when I see it. And this guy walked by. His ears were gauged out so far that they hung almost down to his shoulders. And he had these giant kind of brass spiked rings in them. Not like gauged out. That he had gauged them out and then taken out the gauge, so they were just floppy and loose. And then he had these brass rings that were pulling them down, so they were just pendulously swinging back and forth.
I've never seen that before.
Oh my god! And I was imagining just getting like a starter pistol right by his head and seeing him run, and those things just like bashing him in the face as he was running around. But he had this little girl who was probably 2 or 3 that he was carrying, and she took one of his ears. She was fiddling with the earlobe, and she shoved her entire fist through his fucking gauged ear. And I went, oh! It just turned my stomach. It was so disturbing to me.
So he had like a bar in there?
He had like these big bulky brass rings that were just pulling down on the gauged out ears, so they were just whipping back and forth. It was horribly disturbing.
That's what he's going to do with us? Is there some sort of like surgical remedy you can have for that?
I don't know.
They must be coming up with something at this point.
You would have to cut the skin off because it actually grows more skin as you stretch it out. Yeah. So you would have to nip it off and then like tuck
reform
them in
it. You like reform a little normal lobe, right?
I guess.
Yeah, that'll be like a market that plastic surgeons will be like exploiting in many years.
Yeah, it's weird. I think about this whole generation of people who are all tatted and pierced up, and when they're 60 years old, they're going to just look so freakish.
Yeah,
and I bet there will be a lot of corrective surgery.
Yeah, I mean, we're already working on that. People are working on tattoo removal techniques and trying to make them as effective as possible because most of these tattoos, people got sick of them. People don't want them anymore. Yeah. Yeah, there's some emotion they were feeling at the time, but they marked themselves for life. Their emotion of Tweety Bird on their ankle. Yeah. Some kind of tramp stamp on their lower back. Yeah, those choices, too, are strange, isn't it? Yeah. If you know that the kind of tattoo you're getting is called a tramp stamp, and then you go and get a tramp stamp. When you go in and you ask for a tramp stamp, do you say tramp stamp? Or do you kind of just you go like I'd like you wink around it above my butt? Yeah, like you go to the tattooist and like, I'd like some like Celtic scroll work above my ass crack. Is that what you ask for? But I guess people that get the tramp stamps probably don't call them tramp stamps, but like all their friends have them. Yeah, because they're just like they just think they're cool. But they have to be aware of the societal viewpoint on those, right? How it's a joke. You'd think. I don't know. When a girl's 19 and she's got a tramp stamp, I might be like, tramp stamp. But it doesn't bother me necessarily. And it is pointing to her ass, and I think that's the whole point. But then when she's 64 and she's all saggy and wrinkly and weird, I don't know. I can't imagine the future, really. Or I can imagine, I just don't want to. No, it's disturbing. Yeah. It's a poor choice. The other thing that happened, we had my truck buddy last week. Oh, yeah. Well, you can see right now Warren can see right now that I'm wearing a gray tank top. Yeah. Very plain, like basic gray tank top. And I was wearing this plain, basic gray tank top when I was downtown, and a large man walked by in a gray tank top, and he gave me the, hey, and pointed at our two shirts. Yeah. And I went, yes, we are twins, even though that was the only thing even remotely similar about us. And again, I appreciate the fact that people are out there searching for commonalities, like things that bring us together. Yeah. We've got the same truck, we got the same shirt. But where does it stop? Like, look at that. Oh, hand buddies. Both got right hands. Or like, oh, look, I have seminal vesicles. You have seminal vesicles, too. It would stop there, probably. I would hope everyone has. Because you would just constantly be like, hey, eyeballs. Ooh, well, that's why people do that. They do it when there's something. I don't know. Yeah, some connection. I did notice when I was walking, I listened to the show, actually, or most of it, when I was walking to work the other day. Mm-hmm. And I did see a lot of the Ford Rangers around. They're all over. It is one of those weird things where unless you have one or someone points it out to you, you don't notice. But ever since I've had one, I've just been like, God, they're everywhere. Yeah. Yeah, they're everywhere.
All right, I think we're going to take a break, and we'll be right back after this.
Great.
And we're back. I love our breaks.
You know, I want to
break some
break
fake commercials or something that we
I
can
want
put
to break
into
you
our
of
breaks.
these breaks too.
I like the breaks.
That's the ultimate goal of making the podcast really raw.
Yeah, but
It's
then
taking out the breaks.
I need segment breaks. We have to have segment breaks because sometimes I'll still have to trim length sometimes because I don't want the show to be over an hour long because people are just
No,
going to shoot
this is
themselves in the
my
head
theory.
after a while.
This is how I think the show would really be crazy. We just hit record. We go for exactly 45 minutes, and we just stop at exactly 45.
Well, our shows are usually an hour. You want to cut them down by 15 minutes?
Yeah, that wouldn't hurt.
If you want to get really crazy,
All right.
we each do about 6 shots. I don't know, Jim Beam, Jameson, something
Yeah.
like that. About 3 lines of Coke. Then we press record, and we go on for about 4 hours and 45 minutes.
Yeah, we could do that.
Yeah, we should try.
Yeah,
We should
yeah.
do a drunk episode sometime.
I thought about that originally.
Drinking in the middle of the day, or one episode on hallucinogens, one episode on stimulants, one episode on like opiates. Yeah,
I'm always kind of on stimulants because I have a lot of caffeine surging through me usually.
I drink caffeine a lot, and I don't think that it really makes any difference.
You don't feel any different when you have the caffeine?
No, I don't think
Really?
so. No.
Do you think you used to and now you don't feel it anymore?
I don't think so. I think I'm very lightly affected by anything. In the days when I did take drugs occasionally, they never seemed to do the same things to me that they did to other people. When I would ever smoke pot, I'd just be like, my mouth is dry. That's about all I feel. If I tried ecstasy once.
Yeah.
Well, once or 4 times. And there's one time I was with all these friends. And they're like, ooh, I got some X. And so everyone's like, oh, and they all take a pill. And within like half an hour, 45 minutes, they're all, ow, just rubbing themselves and going all crazy. And I felt absolutely nothing until by the time I went to bed that night at 2, I was just kind of awake and couldn't quite get to sleep.
You're just not letting yourself go and feel it.
Well, and I'm wondering if a lot of it is just a placebo effect that people think they're supposed to be high, and so they act accordingly.
No,
and
I
I
don't-
feeling the feeling of being
I think
high. Maybe
you fighting it is probably
Maybe.
more likely than everyone else. Just this placebo effect that's running rampant through society.
Jesus, I don't know if anyone could hear what you just said because of the giant hog that just drove
There
by.
are a lot of motorcycles going down Holly Street today.
That's the other thing I saw. There was a big group of Harley riders riding by, and at the tail end of their column was a little dude on a moped, but he still had like one of those little tiny motorcycle helmets that aren't really Department of Transportation approved, and he had a handlebar mustache and little sunglasses, and he was riding this tiny little moped behind the Harley guys. And I wonder if he's just been following them around like, hey guys, hey. Like,
Just looking for trouble, you think?
I don't know. He just wants to be part of the crew, but he doesn't quite have the wheels for it.
That'd be really weird if he just like saw a bunch of Harley guys and jumped on a scooter and was like, I want to pretend I'm with you.
We went out last night.
Yeah.
Warren and I, Warren's girlfriend,
Yeah.
a couple other friends. You seemed comatose the entire time. Were you just particularly tired or just bored by
I
our
get up.
company?
I wake up earlier when the sun comes out, so I was tired. Yeah.
Yeah, I woke up at probably 6 yesterday.
Yeah. So I was just kind of like tired. Yeah.
It was a good time, though. After you left, I was hanging out with your girlfriend and a couple friends. And your girlfriend, I don't know how this topic even came up, but she estimated that I weighed 140 pounds. I was like, what are you talking about? It's like, yeah, you look about 140.
Well, how much do you weigh?
I weigh like over 170. I mean, I'm 6'2". I mean, it's ridiculous. 140. Most girls that are like 5'6" or 5'7" weigh about 135.
We have a friend that I think is more in the 140 range.
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe she was thinking about
Well, she
him.
mentioned some guy who I didn't know, but everyone else knew. And she's like, yeah, because he weighs about 140. And then our friend Nate, who was there, was like, he's tiny. He's scrawny. And he was freaking out, too.
Wow.
I'm good at estimating people's weight
I know you're very good.
and height. And bra sizes.
What was interesting last night was that you didn't know what sriracha was,
No.
which blew everyone away.
Never heard of it. So let me get this straight. I don't know what we were talking about. We're talking about the Lay's potato chips or something.
There's a
apparently
contest ongoing about these 3 different new kinds of potato chips that people can vote, and one of
voting
them's going
on
to
these
become
flavors.
permanent. Yeah.
Okay. And one of them is sriracha flavored.
Yeah.
And you guys were like, sriracha. And I had no idea what it was. And so I'm still not totally clear. It's like Tabasco. It's just
like
is it a
it's
brand
a red
of
hot sauce.
Is it a brand of Tabasco
I actually
sauce?
took a picture of a bottle of sriracha before I came over here.
How do you spell it?
It's like R.
Well, there's got to be a vowel in there.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh,
That
yeah, I've
stuff.
seen that before.
Yeah.
Okay. There's
But
a
it's
rooster
like,
on it.
it's weird. It's like, I don't know. You should know that.
I've never used it.
Yeah, but you should be around people using it all the time.
I see people using Tabasco all the time. I don't see people using sriracha. And are they interchangeable? Are they the same thing?
I think they're both hot sauces, but people use sriracha everywhere, all the time,
Why?
on everything. Because it's hot sauce. People like hot sauce on
I
things.
don't like hot sauce on things.
Well, there you go.
I'm an American, okay? I'm of European descent. I like bland food that has
I don't
no
use it
taste.
very often. I put maybe a little dab on there, something if something's particularly bland. But lots of people like to pour that stuff on stuff.
Huh.
But
I did try. The other day I had a scramble at the bakery, and I put a little Tabasco on there just to see if it flavored it up a little bit. I
Oh,
didn't
you got
like
a scramble, did you?
Yeah.
Mixing things up, huh?
farmer scramble. I get eggs.
Oh,
at
yeah, I
the
guess you
store.
get that sometimes.
that's
Yeah,
good
yeah.
stuff.
That's good. That's good. I like to see him mix it up a little bit.
I had another embarrassing situation. I've been working in Sedro-Woolley recently.
That's embarrassing.
It is. Those of you familiar to the area will know that Sedro-Woolley is a crazy, weird hick town to the southeast of Bellingham.
Yeah.
Kind of a weird. It's not just the normal, like, white trash weirdo hicks. It's a strange form of hickdom that I can't quite put my finger on.
As a child, we were coming back over the mountains, I think. My mom and my brother, my sister and I. And our car broke down in Sedro-Woolley. And I remember my mother panicking.
Because it was Sedro-Woolley.
Oh, it's like we had broken down in like Sodom
South Central
or something. Yeah, yeah. And she was like, oh my God. Lock the doors, don't get out. And I do remember there like, being like weird kind of drunk people stumbling around, people on motorcycles and stuff.
Well, but see, that's the weird thing is you look around the town and it just seems like a quaint little town. You don't see crazy people with mullets and trucker caps and like gun racks or anything. It's just like, but it's once you start talking to the people, that's where it comes out. There's a strange, I don't know, I can't put my finger on it.
The county to the
but-
south of us is Skagit County.
Yeah.
And it's Skagit Valley.
Yeah.
It's formed by the Skagit River.
Lots of tulips.
Lots of tulips, lots of agriculture. The farther you go upriver, things get a little bit weirder.
Yeah.
And people start getting a little bit more inbred
Just like Deliverance.
and a little bit creepier. And they're like hill people. And that's the beginning of the hill people. The farther you go, they get into some real weird hill people.
Well, and this is the situation I had. I was in my truck and I had gone through the drive-thru somewhere to get some lunch during the workday, and I had my soda, and I was trying to put the straw in the top of the soda.
Yeah, it's a struggle.
So I had it in my crotch, and normally you just pop it through there, but I was like, bam, bam, and it wouldn't go through. And so my fist was going up and down. I was like, ugh, trying to get this thing, and it was really
Yeah.
annoying me because I was trying to drive, and finally I like slammed it through, and then all this soda went psh, and sprayed up into my
That's
face.
what's going to happen.
And I looked to my left, and there is a crazy big-haired hick woman in a like giant truck. So she's looking down. She can't quite see what's going on.
Yeah.
But she sees my fist going up and down,
And
and then she
splash
sees
into
a
your
splash
face.
of liquid go into my face. She gave me the most disturbed look I've ever seen in my entire life.
She probably thought you were a weird out-of-towner coming in doing your weird masturbatory
Crazy
things.
slick men from the city.
I've heard
beating
talk
off in their trucks.
of the Tar Heels that live up there in the
Tar
hills.
Heels.
Apparently, there's a group of people from North Carolina that moved there years ago into the Skagit Valley. Never really got integrated with the other Skagit Valley people. So sometimes there's like a brawl or something.
So what are they doing? Just like having bluegrass jams and then running amok every once in a while?
I guess
or
they're
something?
probably just getting drunk and then like get in an argument in a bar and then someone gets like beaten to death or something.
Well, what's weird to me is that a lot of these people from these rural outlying areas around here have strange southern accents, even though they were born
That's
and
just like
bred
the
in this
rural
area.
accent, yeah.
It's like, how you doing? What's going on? And I'm like, you're from Washington. What are you doing?
That's just country.
It's
That's
weird.
country drawl.
It's like a weird affect or something. And they're wearing cowboy hats and stuff.
Well, yeah, they identify with being country people.
Yeah.
So you don't want to talk like a highfalutin city folk like
No.
we do.
Well, I had some country folk come by the job site the other day. I was working by myself, and this really old Chevy pickup truck pulled up, and there were two like slack-jawed yokels in there. Like, where are you from? Yelled out their window. I was like, what? Where are you from?
Yeah.
Like, I'm from Bellingham. Come down here and take our jobs. Like,
Really?
yeah. It's like, okay.
You're not a carpetbagger if you come from Bellingham.
It's like, do you do concrete work? We do construction work. Why are you down here from Bellingham? We don't have any work. It's like, I don't know. This is a company that we do work for
Yeah, I know,
all
yeah.
around Whatcom County, Skagit
Probably
County.
because we can read and write, and somebody filled in the paperwork correctly.
But I had my hammer in my hand, and they looked like they were going to get out of their truck. And so I was like standing there with my hammer, and I guess they took that as a threat of some sort, because they were like, "We'll be back." And it's like,
what?
Oh my God, are they going to come with guns or something and try to shoot me? And so I just, went back to work. And towards the end of the day, I heard this like gunning of an engine. And I turn around, and they drive by and go, "Woo!" and throw a beer bottle onto the site. That was their revenge.
Yeah.
Sweet. Stop work.
Sweet
We
revenge.
can't continue.
How odd that that's going on.
Yeah.
And I guess they didn't recognize you, so they knew you were from out of town.
I guess, yeah.
It's that kind of
They
community.
could tell from my Slick City Carhartt clothing that I was wearing.
That's that distinction in rural people, though. In some parts of the country, you get out there, you get to a nice small town, got farmers,
Yeah, friendly people.
and
folksy.
stuff. And you get up in those hills. You're no longer getting around productive farming people. You're around, like, incest-loving, moonshine-making, like,
It's a weird thing
violent
because
weirdos.
in urban areas, the hills are where the rich people live. But in rural areas, the hills are where the freaks live.
Well, there's nothing to do. You can do nothing in the hills.
Yeah. You can coal mine.
You're just up there. You're doing your weird. You're living in your trailer, like shooting your guns at things for no reason, doing all sorts of weird things with your siblings. And it's like you're just trying to get away from the eye of the man, because anyone sees you is just going to be like, "You disgust me."
Yeah.
So you hide in the hills.
You don't want the federal agents coming and finding your still, I guess.
Or whatever you're doing, yeah.
Well, I'm going to be down there for several more weeks, so hopefully I don't have any more run-ins with the natives.
If they... You should probably call, like, the sheriff or the police.
Well, they threw a beer bottle.
Well, I know, but if you're being threatened by, like, locals and pickups...
Well, the sheriff was probably a good old boy, too.
He's
Was
like-
that Hiram and Lenny? Well, I'll straighten them out, and then he'll just go and have a beer with them.
Hiram?
I don't know, Hiram. Is that a
Isn't
nickname?
that a Jewish
I
name?
don't know.
The hill people in Skagit County are usually not Jewish. There might be some. They might be named Hiram Goldberg, but I doubt it.
All right, I think it's time for Celebrity Minute.
All right.
Celebrity Minute on the Warren and Bradley Show.
Alrighty, Celebrity Minute on the Warren and Bradley Show. First story, Miley Cyrus tops Maxim's Hot 100 list. Reveals news early on Twitter. This is from Us Magazine. Every year, Maxim Magazine, the men's magazine, which often pictures some woman in a bikini on the front cover.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's... I've never actually read the magazine. I'm assuming it's about, like,
I've looked through
cars.
it. It's
and,
like, it's like a men's magazine.
Yeah.
It's like, you like hot chicks, here's some hot chicks. You like video games, here's like, we're
I
talking
like
about a
hot
video
chicks.
game.
I like video games.
Well, I know, it's a men's magazine. It's like it's for things for men.
Well, apparently every year they have their Hot 100 list. Miley Cyrus was number 68 last year, but now she is number 1.
That's ridiculous.
What do you think of that, Warren? You said
That's
it's ridiculous.
asinine.
You don't think she's the hottest woman in America? I don't know if it's America or the world.
No, of course she's not.
No.
She's not even close.
We're looking at... She tweeted this picture. We'll post this on warrenandbradley.com. I guess this is from her Maxim photo spread. She's wearing a gold bikini. Has her blonde hair slicked back. She's not...
She's okay.
She's attractive.
But you were going to be number 1. You should be hotter than that.
She's got a good body on her. I think... I've never actually heard her speak. Just from her public image, I'm assuming she's just dumb as a rock and probably really irritating.
Yeah.
But she's one of those, wouldn't kick her out of bed.
No. Well, lucky you, Hannah Montana. Find your way to Bumtown.
I'll tweet her that, and she'll be here in no time. We were talking... I can't keep any of our shows straight, but either last episode or the episode before about... Well, first of all, we had our That's How Women Are segment about women violence. And then you mentioned the fact that women stalking you isn't really that big of a deal.
Yeah.
And I agreed, but then we had our Hugh Jackman story, the crazy woman throwing the razor filled with pubic hair
But I mean,
at
as
him.
far as big deals go, it's not that big a deal.
Well, yeah, but then recently Robert Plant gets a temporary restraining order against a fan. This is from WENN. Led Zeppelin frontman Robert Plant has obtained a temporary restraining order against an overzealous fan he alleges is a threat to his safety. Plant claims Allison Billings has been harassing him for over 3 years and believes that they are in a relationship, despite Plant insisting the pair has never met. See, this is what women do that men do this too. But it's like we're married. we're going to have children. And they've never actually interacted with each other in any way. I think men are more just like, I'm going to kidnap you and rape you, which is worse, I think.
Yes,
but this is still kind of freaky because apparently Plant alleges that Billings constantly sends him flowers. Well, that's nice. Random packages, leaves hotel keys for him, and has repeatedly appeared at his concerts all over the world. So far, so good. Not a big deal.
Yeah.
But now her obsession has taken a dark turn since he started a relationship with current girlfriend Patty Griffin, reportedly sending him threatening messages such as, "Your betrayal with another woman still stabs my mind. This woman is literally evil for you and your life. You are about to fall for that dirty old crotch, and I'm not joking. I cannot, will not, shall not live this way anymore." That sounds like a threat.
Yeah, but this isn't the most menacing thing I've ever heard.
I don't know. Plant could have a pubic hair filled razor in his future. I don't know.
Exactly. Remember that woman that kept breaking into David Letterman's house and stuff? You know, that's kind of the...
Yeah, but every once in a while they get all stabby. There was that Jodi Arias or whatever, that trial that has just been going on lately that all the soccer moms are obsessed with, where she went to her boyfriend's house and bludgeoned him and stabbed him repeatedly and cut his genitals off.
But that's her boyfriend.
Yeah, but still.
That's not a stalker.
It's still a crazy, frightening woman who was obsessed with somebody.
Yes,
and decided
that is
to
true.
stab him.
That does happen occasionally.
Watch out for those ladies. Next story. Recently, Reese Witherspoon and her husband, Jim Toth, were...
Did we not talk about this in the show?
I guess we didn't. I thought we did, maybe, but this is more has come out. They were arrested. Actually, I guess Jim Toth was arrested for DUI. And... we now have video footage of the dashboard camera from the cops as Reese Witherspoon. Basically, her husband was being arrested. She started freaking out. The cops were telling her to stay in the car. She refused to stay in the car.
You know who I am.
Yeah, you know who I am. You know who I am. And then finally, she was arrested for obstruction of justice. And now this is kind of amusing because you can actually hear... By this point, Jim Toth is in the car. He's already been cuffed, and he's in the car. And you can hear Reese Witherspoon outside complaining to the cop, and then she gets put in the car, and you can hear his response to Reese Witherspoon. Let's see if we can jip this video here.
It's Reese Witherspoon. You're arresting me for obstruction of justice. Mm-hmm. It will be in the national news. I just want to let you know.
That's fine.
I'm so glad
why?
that way.
Why, on God's holy name, would you have gotten up out of your car? You would have been able to drive.
Because I wanted to talk to you like a normal person would talk to a normal
But
person.
I told you not to get up out the car.
Absolutely. You told me not to get out of the car.
That's
and
right.
I said to you, I disagree.
Well, that's okay.
Because that's my
All right,
perspective as an American.
Let's go ahead and take a seat for us, okay?
Okay, yes, sir. He's arresting us.
I understand, but
For what? What have I done? What did I do?
He told you to stop.
Just stop. Don't say anything. I'm an American citizen. I can say whatever I want to. I'm free ground. He does not have jurisdiction over the ground that he speaks on. He does not.
What? She's drunk, too.
I'm allowed to say anything I want to say. I can protest
He
any way I want to.
He asked you to get in the car. All you should have done is let me get arrested.
Yeah.
Arrested for what?
A DUI. and now,
what did I get arrested for?
Well, you wouldn't listen to what he said to do, and you kept getting out of the car. And now you've turned it into
What I have threatened him and put him in a position that he feels vulnerable? Honestly. Come on, honey. Come on.
She hinders my investigation. She also...
I think there's more.
It just turned it really bad. It was my bad.
Molly Smith said, get out of the car and say what you
I
want.
don't know what she's talking about.
What? Who said what?
I guess she must have called somebody or something, and somebody told her to get out of the car and protest to the cops, which
Don't do
is great
that.
advice.
What Jim was saying there makes perfect sense.
And he was
like, it's a
drunk enough to
DUI.
be pulled over for DUI, and he's the one talking sense to Reese. And I'm assuming if he was driving, he was the less drunk of the two. She wasn't slurring. He was kind of slurring his words, but he was speaking much more sense than old Reese was.
Yeah. She sounds a little country, though, doesn't she?
A little bit, yeah. I think she is, isn't she?
Yeah, she must be.
She's from somewhere. But I guess since then, she has apologized, said that she said some crazy things, and that she panicked when she saw him being arrested. But just for future reference, people, if a cop tells you to do something, no matter how ridiculous it is, just do it.
Oh, yeah, it's much easier
It's
that
not
way.
worth the problem. Warren, this will be tragic news for you. I think you will remember one of your favorite bands from the from our childhood, from the 90s. Crisscross.
Oh, no. I heard about this.
The Mac Dad and the Daddy
Yeah.
Mac, who were famous for wearing their pants backwards.
But I'm not sure which one it was. No,
It was Chris Kelly, the Mac Daddy, has died of an apparent drug overdose.
Shocking.
He was 34 years old. Apparently, he had been taking speedballs, a mixture of heroin and cocaine.
Yes.
Don't mix your heroin and cocaine, people. Take one or the other. Don't mix them together. It's sad. Apparently, he had been talking about doing live shows with his partner again, getting Crisscross back together. They were supposed to play the So So Def 20th anniversary tour. But now that will never happen. The Mac Dad and the Daddy Mac. I'm trying to remember the lyrics. We used to hear this. Remember, we used to listen to KISM when we were like, I don't know, 11.
Mac, now I can only think about Mac Daddy and Daddy Mac.
Crisscross will make you jump,
jump.
The Mac Dad will make you
jump.
Uh-huh.
The Daddy Mac will make you. Yeah, okay.
That's all I can remember.
Yeah, Bieber. Tail, think about.
A sobering lesson of the future.
Well, it's just like these are just a couple kids that hit the lottery the way Bieber has, and it's like once things go downhill, and people are like, "Why were you famous at all?" And you're like, "I'm the greatest." You end up in a bad situation.
The other week, we talked about Farrah Abraham and her sex tape. Well, apparently she has now worked out a deal with Vivid Entertainment and has sold the video to them for anywhere from $1 million to $2 million.
What, really?
Yeah. So it's going to be released, I think, on May 6th, they said. And then available for streaming after that. I actually watched a preview of it to see what it looked like. It's
how much of a preview?
It shows like the first few minutes. It's shot like it is shot like a handheld. I guess James Dean is holding the camera, and it's like they're dating or something. They're in some apartment or something, and she's like, "Baby, I'm hot. Give me some water." And he's like, and then she has some dress on, and he wants her to try on underwear, and then he's trying to get her to spread her legs, and she's like, "Stop it!" And then it just goes right to the blowjobbing and fucking, but. She has big fake boobs.
Yes.
And I didn't realize that. And they were gross and pendulous.
That's one of her things she did.
I cannot stress this enough, ladies. Do not get fake boobs. They're gross. I would have been perfectly happy watching Farrah Abrahams have sex with James Dean, except for the fake boobs.
That threw you off?
Just threw me off immediately. But she posted a video where she defends the fact that she sold the tape. We're going to try this again. Let's see, in her own words.
So on the real, what would you do? You have been a single mother for 4 years, off and on dating loser-ass boys who always try to sell information, lie to you, manipulate, and you've just realized you're an awesome person and you deserve someone.
No.
And now that you've been 21, you've pretty much been crying every night because you're single and you're alone. And so you make your own videos, celebrate your awesome body, get your own sexy shots. So the person you did this with has the urge to yell it out when he should be professional and not. So, you have companies interested. Why not sell it? And that's what I did.
And then she puts a Vivid video hat on at the end of the video. So she decides to make her own sexy video to celebrate her awesome body. If you're going to make a sex tape to celebrate your awesome body, you don't hire a porn star to act with you in the video, do you? Is that normal?
If you want to sell it, maybe.
Well, yeah. I still like the fact that she's maintaining this weird ruse that it was just for personal use, but now she has to sell it because James Dean mentioned it.
She's keeping that up?
That's what she's saying. She's saying it was just, I just made this to celebrate my awesome body and feel good about myself, but then James Dean had to go out and blurt out the fact that this video was made, so now I have to sell it. The plan was to sell it from the beginning. Everyone knows that the plan was to sell it from the beginning, so just sell it.
It's interesting, just the way this always works out. It's like, no publicity is bad publicity, so,
yeah.
I mean, probably all this controversy around it probably got her more money.
All right, for our last duo stories here, we have some more Amanda Bynes shit. She's still tweeting weird pictures. She recently tweeted a picture of her in lingerie. Well, she's wearing like sheer black yoga pants and a bra that's much too small for her gigantic pendulous breasts. And she also tweeted that she weighs 134 pounds but needs to weigh 100 pounds.
Didn't we? I remember we read like something about her before, and she said that.
But we're looking at this picture now. We'll post this on warrenandbradley.com. Are these breasts fake, or are they just gigantic and in bra that is just way too small for them?
I can't tell.
Huge Broncos. Yeah. And then after that, she tweeted a picture topless. We have here, she's wearing some kind of weird lingerie bottoms and ripped tights and is sitting in a bathroom. Her hair is mostly covering her gigantic pendulous breasts.
It's just, yeah, that's what she does. Yeah. That's her thing.
I wonder how long this can be sustained. I would assume there has to be some sort of substance abuse or something going on to get her to act this way.
Diet pills.
Maybe diet pills?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Again, Bieber.
Good luck to you,
Watch
Amanda.
out.
That's enough for Celebrity Minute this week on The Warren and Bradley Show.
This has been Celebrity Minute on The Warren and Bradley Show. They wander the streets, scavenging for loose change and discarded cigarette butts.
Spare $1 and give me a motherfucking cigarette. I ran out of gas ways back. You smoke weed, don't you? Good. I could use some change.
They may be mentally unstable and deserving of our charity, but that doesn't mean they can't be selected as the Warren and Bradley Show Street Freak of the Week.
All right, Street Freak of the Week. This actually happened last week, but we didn't get to it in the last episode. As you'll remember, Warren, last weekend it was raining like a bastard.
Yeah.
And I was downtown. I couldn't stand on my normal corner because of the deluge coming from the sky, and so I had worked my way into this little alcove by the local cobbler's place, which was closed. So I was...
The beginning of the story just makes you sound like a homeless person. That's good.
So I was able to shelter from the rain there and smoke and watch people because the cobbler's was closed on a Sunday. And this little alcove is basically just like 3 feet wide by 3 feet deep. So there's room for one person in this alcove. But as I was standing there smoking, a homeless man walked up who was wearing one of those trash bag parkas where you just poke a hole in the top of a trash bag and put it on. And he had a gallon jug of milk that he was just like drinking out of this gallon jug of milk.
Good for you.
Yeah. And so he works his way into this little alcove. Horrible stench rising from him. I don't know if the parka was serving as some sort of like greenhouse effect for the odor that was underneath the parka.
It's probably make him sweat a little bit.
But you could just see these waves, like in a cartoon, of odor just like floating up from his body. I was like, oh man. And so I sort of tried to make room for him, and then he was like, "You don't mind if I come in here, do you?" It's like, actually, I was just gonna leave. Oh, you don't want to be around me, huh? What, do you think you're better than me? And I was like, yeah,
again, well, he knows who he's talking to because you feel like you can't have a homeless person think that you're better than them.
So then he went on to try to prove that I'm not better than him.
Yeah.
And this is how. Oh, you think you're better than me? Where'd you go to college? I went to USC. I didn't graduate. Like, oh, guess where I went to college? I don't know. I went to Amherst.
Oh.
Amherst, really? Amherst is a very small but very prestigious university. I think it was recently voted number 2 amongst liberal arts colleges in the United States.
Oh yeah, its rival Williams.
Yes, Williams and Wesleyan.
They swap spots sometimes at the top. But the most elite liberal arts colleges in the United States.
It only has a student body of 1,500 people or something like that. It's a small, prestigious, exclusive school. And so I went, really? Amherst? Yeah, part of the little 3. And the big 3 being Yale, Princeton, and Harvard. The little 3 is Wesleyan, Williams, and Amherst. And went on to claim that he had studied pre-med at Amherst and was going to go to, I can't remember what college for his actual medical school. I said, okay. I wasn't sure I believed him, but he...
Well, at some point, the story has to take a turn where he ends up in a garbage bag drinking a bunch of milk in a rainy day in Bellingham.
He skipped some steps from his, undergraduate days in Amherst to where he showed up now. Then he said, how old are you? And he's like, I'm 35. I'm 37. Which, again...
Beats you again.
I guess he proved a point somehow.
Yeah.
He said, okay, he looked like he was about 64 or something. How many girls have you fucked?
Oh.
He went, I'm not going to tell you that. Oh, not very many then, huh? And I went, it's private information. I'm not going to tell you how many girls I've slept with. I've had sex with 42. Okay, that's nice. It's like, I have a knife. Okay.
So he had a knife?
He said he had a knife. He pulled out a little pocket knife, luckily, and opened it up and brandished it at me. I went, okay. You have a knife.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm not going to use it on you. I'm like,
good.
Okay, that's good. And then he just sauntered on his way and walked away. He proved his point. He's better than
that
me.
Knife in an eye at some point.
He went to Amherst. I just went to USC. He was pre-med, obviously much more intelligent than me. He had a sassy trash bag parka on. He had sex with 42 women, which I do have to admit has beaten my number. He had a knife. I did not have a knife. And he was older than me. So in pretty much every respect, he has proved the better man.
But you didn't go back at him at all, did you?
Not really, no.
You didn't bring up the homelessness.
Well,
you should be like...
That was a little too obvious.
How many apartments do you live in?
How many vehicles do you own?
How many vehicles
do you own? How many jobs do you have?
Yeah, how many jobs do you have?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how many girls... Well, that wouldn't work either. I was going to say how many girls are you currently sleeping with, but then I would be failing on that account as well. But I don't know. I admired the fact that he still had a source of pride, and he was armed, and he had a jug of milk. I didn't have a jug of milk. I did have some coffee, but
unarmed, no milk,
no knife.
What are you doing? You're not prepared for anything. You have a garbage bag on.
Yeah, and I guess that's why he could leave the alcove, because he was protected from the elements with his sassy garbage bag parka.
How much of that story do you believe?
I almost believe that he went to Amherst because he mentioned the little three. Why would a homeless person even know that?
Okay, this is the thing.
Yeah.
It's interesting that he would know the information about those schools.
Yeah.
But
it is possible that
there are many people
across it.
I know about those schools. I didn't go there. You know what I mean? It's more likely that he would have heard about it than this crazy person actually went to the school.
But you're a non-crazy person with broad general knowledge about many different subjects. You're well-read.
Yes,
and educated.
but I am also not a crazy person. I didn't go to Amherst.
And it is possible that he just stumbled across this information and then fixated on it and then decided that whenever he saw a skinny guy smoking in an alcove, he was going to come and confront them with this.
Yeah.
Because maybe in the past, when he was struggling with other homeless people, they're fighting over a jug of milk or something, he'd be like, I went to Amherst. And they went, oh, and backed off because apparently that makes him...
It's impressive.
The top bum.
But then, of course, they have to be like, they don't know what Amherst is.
You know
probably.
Who else went to Amherst?
David Foster Wallace went to Amherst.
So, Dr. Trubinsky.
Oh, yeah, he went to Amherst too, didn't he?
Yeah.
Oh,
and then he went to
USC Medical School, didn't he?
Yeah.
Oh, he's like...
Tying it together there.
Wow, that's mind-blowing stuff right there.
All right, so... Yeah, he didn't do anything that... Well, he did show me a knife, but... I don't know. I admired his spunk. I admired his style, I guess. So I guess I have to give him the win for Street Freak of the Week.
Yeah.
So congratulations, trash bag parka,
best
gallon
educated
jug
homeless
guzzling,
man
knife
in town.
wielding, educated pre-med Amherst College going homeless man. You've been selected as the Street Freak of the Week.
Congratulations.
Our hats are off to you, Mr. Homeless Man, because you've been selected as the Warren and Bradley Show Street Freak of the Week.
Go.
So I've been going through some of my stuff.
Yes.
Lately. And I've been trying to throw even more stuff out. So, so I own absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
And I was going through some of my childhood possessions, which I still have, and I got to my comic books.
Oh.
And I was like, look at these comic books. What am I going to do with these?
Would you have some Wolverine in there?
I got a Wolverine.
Silver Surfer?
I got a lot of Silver Surfer. And I was like, what am I going to do with these? I'll just throw these in the garbage can. But then I was like...
These are worth some money there, buddy.
They're not. The baseball cards in the comic books aren't worth any money from our era because everyone bought them. But I was like, no, maybe I'll check out what's going on with the Silver Surfer. So I started reading. I read a lot of comic books yesterday. Yeah, it was pretty great.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the process of reading the comic books.
Was he fighting Thanos?
Actually, at one point, Thanos was around. Yeah. He had to blow up something that Thanos had made. Thanos had apparently built some
was
sort
that
of
with the gauntlet thing?
I don't know. This is the problem.
I'm remembering these weird storylines from when I was a little kid.
This is the problem with the comics.
To come back.
There's a lot going on.
Oh, yeah.
And there's a little asterisk, and it says refer to
Oh, yeah. They have all these crossover shit. You have to go through.
You're like, I don't have these old issues. I don't know what you're talking about. But I was reading Silver Surfer, and then they went into the Infinity Wars.
Oh, the Infinity Wars.
And I have some of those, so I read some of those, and I was it was sort of crossing over the Silver Surfer and what was going on there. But mostly the Silver Surfer would just be cruising through space, and some like ghost figure would appear, or some like monster would just jump out and be like, "How dare you?" And he's like, "I thought I killed you before." And then they just have this battle, and he'd be like saying these very long sentences about truth and justice.
Yeah,
and then
he was very philosophical.
Yeah, just like, but as they're like fighting, and that would go on for pages and pages and pages and pages and pages, and then he would like not kill the person, like they'd be sent off somewhere, and then he'd be like, now I can go like just flying again, and then he'd fly into someone else, and it'd be like, next episode he's gonna fight this person.
He had a lot of standalone episodes, episodic. I like that.
Yeah, it's fine, but I mean, there's nothing. I mean, if you're just gonna run into like a giant dinosaur or this thing, and then just like fight it for a while, then eventually you win, and then you just run into another one. There's not much to that.
I remember we had a period when we were quite into comics. We would ride our bikes all over the place, to little comic stores and stuff, and get comics. We both liked Silver Surfer at one point, and then I started getting more into Wolverine and X-Men. And I remember, I think I stopped collecting comics when Wolverine had been fighting against Magneto, and there was a big crossover thing with the X-Men and like all sorts of other comic book series, and Magneto stripped all the adamantium out of Wolverine's body. He sucked it out with his magnetic power.
Isn't his like his bones made of that?
Well, they were covered in adamantium, and then the big shocking reveal was that Wolverine's claws weren't just metal, they were actually bone covered in metal. He had been born with those claws. Dun dun dun.
Oh, I always assumed that was true.
Yeah. And his healing factor got all fucked up, and so he would like shoot his claws out and it'd just be bone. He'd go, "Oh, that hurts."
Yeah, and
then he had to give up smoking because he wasn't healing as quickly as he used to.
Oh yeah, I can see that. But speaking of like our childhood obsessions, we used to go to a baseball card shop. My brother and I too would go to this baseball card shop in downtown Bellingham.
My dad owned a freaking baseball.
Yeah, your dad owned a
period.
baseball card shop. I used to hang out at that baseball card shop a lot. But my brother was at the local YMCA the other day, like playing basketball or something, and some guy was like, "Oh, hey," to my brother, and like talked to him, and was like, "Yeah, I remember you from when you used to come into my baseball card shop."
Really?
That was 25 years ago, and he was a child at the time.
25 years ago, yeah. That's weird to be able to recognize.
Super, super weird.
Your brother was distinctive looking as a child. But I don't know if I could see the little Charlie Van, Warren's brother, and then see the adult one and be able to
that's the thing,
draw
right?
a line.
Let's say we ran like a candy store now or something, and there was some like 8-year-old boy who came in once in a while.
Where's the story going?
No, I'm just saying. There's
the back room of the candy store and an 8-year-old boy.
Thousands of 8-year-old boys that came in.
Yeah.
And then the store eventually closed down, and it was 25 years later. And you were at a gym. You wouldn't recognize any of the kids.
Are you suggesting that maybe your brother and this man had a relationship that went beyond just entering the comic book store?
I just don't know Does this man have the most amazing memory ever?
Yeah.
And how can you recognize a small child that you saw at a store 25 years ago and be like, "Oh, I remember you"?
Maybe he went back. Maybe he took like surveillance video footage from everyone who ever went into the store, and then he went on one of those websites where you like age 25 years, and he popped in these pictures of every child that ever came in.
So he'd recognize them if he saw them around town?
He just filed that away for future use.
So I was going through the baseball cards too, and I was like, what am I going to do with these baseball cards? So I went to the Google, and I said, are my baseball cards worth anything?
Yeah.
And unanimously, they were like, no, your baseball cards aren't worth anything.
It's such a funny, weird period. I remember this all started when we were probably like, I don't know, 7 or 8 or 9, and you got into baseball cards first.
Yeah.
And previous to this 90s era, there was like Top and a couple baseball card companies. Nobody really gave a shit. And then suddenly there was this weird fad resurgence of baseball cards. And there were like hundreds of different manufacturers. There was like Upper Deck and Fleer and Donruss, all these different ones.
Baseball card shops all over the place.
Yeah, and like my dad got in on the baseball card shop boom, and for like 2 years made a bunch of money, and then everyone just forgot about it and said, because the market got flooded with baseball cards, and they weren't worth anything anymore.
No, because you know what they are? They're pictures of baseball players on a piece of cardboard.
Yeah, it's really weird.
Yeah, it's strange that became so fashionable, and that I spent so much of my childhood money just collecting cards with pictures of baseball players on them.
I spent a great deal of my childhood working in my dad's baseball card shop when I was like 12 years old, just alone in this shop with angry Canadians coming in and arguing with me all the time, like trying to get no tax or something on their cards, or like trying to get something for 2 cents cheaper, and me being 12 speaking to like a 45-year-old guy like, no, this is the price, get out.
Yeah,
like it was the weirdest thing when I think back on it, the fact that I was running a retail establishment by myself with no supervision.
Yeah, it was strange.
It's very strange.
Yeah, we used to hang out. We spent a lot of time in that baseball card shop.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
I had to, because
Yeah.
after school, I would get dropped off at the baseball card shop, and I would work there till it closed at like 8 o'clock every
Yeah.
night. It's so
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah.
Does that happen anymore? I don't think that happens.
No, it seems unlikely.
And is there some weird...
If you went to a store and there was like just like a kid working there,
Yeah.
and no one else,
Like, is the employee?
Yeah,
actually
is there an
here? What's
adult
going on?
present? Yeah.
And was there some weird workaround because it was a family thing?
well, that's true of all labor laws like that, especially
Really?
like farm labor laws. It's like you can't do anything to anybody, right? Except for if they're your own family, you can basically just work them day and
Make
night
them
and
a
not
slave.
pay them anything. Yeah.
Well, that was a weird thing with my dad's construction business. I mean, I'd be helping him when I was 11 years old, like with a skill saw and everything. And you're not allowed on the site unless you're 18,
Yeah.
even if you're family.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't think my dad has always adhered to the labor laws that exist.
Hopefully, no one from the state is listening to this.
Well, I'm over 18 now, so I think it's fine.
They're going to crack down on you.
Retroactively.
So I mentioned I had breakfast with my siblings and my mother this morning.
Mm-hmm.
I mentioned the fact that I might throw away these baseball cards. Mm-hmm. And they have the same reaction that apparently everyone sort of does.
Those would be worth some money.
Those are worth money.
Yeah.
Those are worth money. And I'm like, no, they're not. It's like, well, some of those cards in there must be worth money. And I'm like, maybe a couple dollars for some of the cards.
Yeah.
What are you going to do with them? Are you going to go through all the cards, price out every single card, and try to... Who are you going to sell it to? What? You know what I mean? They're basically garbage.
Are there any card shops left?
That's an
town?
interesting question. I can't think of one.
I don't know.
Have you seen a baseball card shop recently?
Not that I can think of. I recently found a couple cards. I used to have tons. I don't know whatever happened to them. I used to have tons of comics too, and they got... I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
And that kind of pisses me off because I had Wolverine number 1 through like 75.
Yeah. Well, that's a pretty good collection there. Yeah.
But anyway, and I looked through, I think, where are those? I had a couple cards that I found. I'm going through my shelves right now.
Oh, look at you.
Remember the Al Leiter error where it was like mirrored?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Top card.
That's one of the strange things that I had forgotten about baseball cards. Remember how errors were the big deal?
Yeah.
Because they would make some sort of error on a baseball card, and then they would fix it so that a baseball card would become rare, and then it would be a big deal.
I've got the Randy Johnson rookie card.
Oh, rated rookie, yeah.
A Nolan Ryan, like an old Topps.
Why do you just have this random stack?
I don't know. I just found these in a box. Cal Ripken rookie card from Donruss. Big bats at first. Pat Tabler, Mark McGuire, Fleer.
Pat who?
I don't know who the fuck that is. I have more Randy Jackson cards. I'm just going through here. Oh, so here's the other Al Leiter card. I guess that was the correction that they made.
Oh, we'll put this up on the website so you can see what we're talking
this is
about.
exciting. This is like this is old school. Oh, a Ken Griffey rookie from Donruss.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was just weird. I found these and I was like, I don't know. Oh, look, a Mark McGuire rookie card from the...
oh, yeah.
Oh, that's got to be worth something. Oh, and look, an eBay credit card is mixed in here.
Oh, that's nice.
So yeah, and I didn't bother looking any of them up, but I assumed, as you did, that they're not worth any money at all anymore.
Yeah, I was going through all this stuff, and it was weird the things that I just like had never got around to throwing away, but I had kept in these little boxes.
Yeah.
Like a bunch of old pens.
Yeah, I've mostly weeded most of that shit out. I have a couple... I think I have like a duffel bag with a bunch of old school papers, like stories I had written. They'll be amusing, in 20 years. I want to hold on to those. And then I have a box of painful memories that I've kept throughout my life of like ex-girlfriends and things like that. And so if I'm moving or something and I'm going through boxes and I find something that makes me go, oh, and like kind of die a little bit inside, then I'll put that in the box because it elicits an emotional response from me. Because every once in a while, to prove that I'm human and that I have emotions, I get out the box and I take these objects that have become sort of totemistic,
that'll work.
totemistic in a way, and I put them in front of me, and if it elicits an emotional reaction, then I go, oh, good. I have feelings. And then
Are you going to start cutting? This sounds like you're going to start cutting.
No, that's...
just to fill anything.
Do that when you're 15.
I know I had stacks of pictures, too, that I have in there of just, like, random things. But the thing with the pictures is, most of the time I didn't have a camera.
Yeah.
Back when I used to... And I would get one of those disposable cameras, and I'd be like, I should take some pictures of my life.
Yeah.
And so basically just be one day of me, like, taking pictures of things, and none of them are very interesting.
Yeah, see, that's the weird thing, the stacks of pictures, because I don't have stacks of pictures.
You have any pictures?
Well, I have them from up until like 1998 or 99, and after that, when everything started going digital, nobody printed out pictures anymore, and I think 9/10 of those just all get deleted eventually. Because before, you would find, oh, what's this film canister I have? I better go bring it in. And you'd find all these weird pictures that you had no memory of, and then you would have these physical pictures. And now, like, I have 1,000 pictures on my phone, and then every once in a while I just just delete them all. And I don't bother. What, am I going to bring my phone in and print out all these pictures? It's weird. I think that the physical proof that for hundreds of years, you know, there were newspaper articles, there were written records, there were pictures. That's not going to exist anymore. It's all just digital. It's all in the cloud. And when the bomb goes off or the zombies overrun the world, that's all just going to
It's easier to throw that stuff away, too.
So in 2,000 years, when people are going through the detritus of our failed civilization, they're not going to find...
I think it ended in like 1998.
Yeah, they're not going to find any record of anything. It's weird.
Yeah, I'm going to keep those pictures, definitely.
Yeah.
Of the things I'm going to keep. I guess I'm going to keep my high school yearbooks.
Yeah, I found those recently, too. That was amusing.
They're heavy. I don't know. They're just big books. I'm never going to look through them. But I mean, you can't throw away your high school yearbooks.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, CDs, too.
All my CDs are gone.
I had all these CDs in a giant thing, too.
I actually got in right on the edge of the bubble of CDs, where I digitized every single CD I had that I wanted, and then sold them all, like when CDs were still worth some
value.
money. I got like $400 for my CDs.
Really?
A year later, I would have gotten absolutely nothing for them.
Oh. Yeah.
Got in right on the wire, under the wire.
That's what you got to do with this technology, huh?
Yeah. That was
Be
a step
just
ahead.
right ahead of the curve. Sold your Laserdisc player right when it was going downhill.
No, that's been a broad, far-reaching discussion.
It has. The process continues. The Silver Surfer is involved in some sort of... Thanos is involved. I don't know.
Are they still making new Silver Surfer, like, standalone issues?
I don't know. Oh, I thought about that. I was like, could I, like, just go down to 7-Eleven every week and buy the new Silver Surfer and read it?
You know, I was reading the Walking Dead comic a while ago.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it's not high art or anything, but it was entertaining. I was just like, okay, I had one of those little comic book readers on my iPhone and was, like, reading the comic. And I'm sure I could get back into reading comics again, but it's just one other thing, like, why would I? You know, it might entertain me for a little bit, but I already post videos of Minecraft online. I already like anime. What other nerd-tastic thing do I need to add to my resume?
Get your Dungeons and Dragons board out.
Oh, God. That's one thing I never delved into when I was a kid.
No, I tried one day when I was in college, but it didn't work out. Yeah. I might give that a try. I actually listened to a podcast about Dungeons and Dragons the other day. The history of it, and just, you know, it's interesting.
I guess so. I'm an elven cleric of level 34.
Yeah. And then you go on a little adventure.
Yeah.
I can see how it's good for the nerds to do that.
Yeah. I was taught that Satan developed Dungeons and Dragons when I was a kid. It was the evilest thing in the world, and if you played it, you'd be possessed by a devil or a demon, and then you'd end up slaughtering your brother in some sort of satanic ritual.
Yeah, that's the weird thing about that devil and demon stuff. They don't actually exist.
I was taught that you were always almost on the verge of being possessed by some evil demon, and that you constantly had to guard against possession and influenced by these demons that were constantly on your shoulder. I was scared to death of demons as a child, because my parents gave that gift to me, the gift of being afraid of supernatural beings that would try to enter your body.
As if real life isn't hard enough as it is. You know what I mean?
Being 8 is pretty damn hard anyway.
Yeah.
And if you're worried about demons on your way to the bathroom, it makes it much worse.
Yeah, the magical creatures aren't necessary.
No.
There's enough horrors out there in the world that you have to get past.
They didn't teach me to believe in Santa Claus. They taught me to believe in demons.
Yes.
Thank you.
Santa Claus would have been better, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
All right. I think that's enough time for the Warren and Bradley Show this week. This has been one of your hosts, Bradley Victor.
This is the other host, Warren Van.
Saying...
read Silver Surfer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I will.
This has been the Warren and Bradley Show, brought to you by Warren Van and Bradley Victor. For podcast news and information, like the show on Facebook at facebook.com/Warren and Bradley. Follow the show on Twitter at Warren and Brad. Subscribe on iTunes and leave a review. For episode archives and episode pictures, go to warrenandbradley.com, and to contact the show, write to podcast@warrenandbradley.com.